Hi, so I wanted to make you a quick video and explain, in addition to the documentation I'm going to put in the post, how this whole notification is going to work. So from your post, I understand that you're looking to make a notification system or somehow update the tables in real time when Integromat finishes the scenario. So let me show you how we're going to go about doing this. So here I have a very basic app, and then what the ideal thing scenario is going to happen is that when someone does a certain action here, it triggers something in Integromat. Then when that's done, you want to be notified. So let me show you this in real time. So first I'm going to do a new customer, and here we have in the server in the back end, we have a outgoing webhook that just simply triggers an Integromat scenario every time a new record is created. So what's going to happen is when I create this new email, it's going to save, it's going to go to Integromat and do something. Integromat is going to, in this scenario, I have something very basic, but before I show you the scenario, let me just wait here on this page and show you what happens. So you see what happened a few seconds later. It showed me a little notification, data has been updated, please refresh your page. So we could do anything you want here of what's going to happen when that data comes back, but let me show you how that's kind of working right now. So again, like I said before, we have a webhook, so every time this form gets submitted, it sends a webhook to Integromat. And in Integromat, we have, whenever we find a webhook, here I'm just doing a custom sleep to wait 5 seconds. But in your case, it would be a whole scenario that's going to be running. And then finally, the last step of the scenario, I have a HTTP request to this certain service, which is what I'm going to go over right now. So this service is basically using WebSockets, which is a little bit complex, but all you need to know is that we put a little bit of JavaScript inside of our application. And let me go to that, I'll show you that. So here inside of this application, we have a tiny bit of JavaScript. We have this ably system service, and then we're creating a new WebSocket basically. And then this is able to listen using webhooks to act on it. So it's a little bit beyond the scope. All you're gonna have to really do is copy paste this code. But here you can see inside of this page, we're subscribing to a certain channel called Quick Start, and we're subscribing, and then in that channel we're saying whenever scenario completed, show this notification. So this is just simply doing an alert, but I'm using the Sweet Alert framework, the Sweet Alert library, which makes it look a little bit slicker. So that's pretty much all the lines of code that we have to do. So if you wanted to do something more specific, like refresh a data table, you can just trigger that when that happens. So just put in here all the code that will refresh the table. So that's pretty much all we have to do. So I'll show you now the Ably. This is a great service for WebSockets, real-time communication, and things like that. I'm pretty sure they have a generous free tier, but if not, I'm sure it'll work with a lot of other services also. And once you create an account, it'll give you your private API key, and you'll copy this and then put this first and foremost inside of your header. So in the custom code, you'll just add this line of code right here with your API key. Okay, and then whatever page you want to listen for events, you would then put in this other code. So again, this code right here, this line of code right here is just the action that happens when the scenario happens, when a scenario gets completed. So in Integromat then, you'll create an HTTP request, and you would basically pass it to this URL. You create a post request, and you have to have a custom authorization header. And that's basically, you have a name, and then you call it basic, and the password has to be passed as base64. So I'm just adding a custom, I don't know what they call it, but a custom, helper, I guess, to convert your API key. This is the same API key that you put inside of the header of your app. And then the next thing is you set it to JSON, and then request content, you would say the name is scenario completed, and here you can pass whatever data you want. So you can create multiple scenarios. Like you can create a scenario failed, so have a router and Integromat that if it fails, do scenario failed, and then have it show a different message. In that case, you would just simply say, we'd copy this, and we would say scenario failed, so it'll listen for that message, and then here it'll say, oops, it failed, and you can just create this however you wish. That's basically the entire process. So it is just comes down to about 5-6 lines of code. And this, you don't have to use this Sweet Alert. This is also another library I added here in the header just to make it look a little bit slicker, so it doesn't have that ugly alert, but it looks a little cleaner. I'll put all this information inside of the doc also, copy and paste it all in there so you can just use that.